Hi-ho, Stampers. Welcome back to my studio. This is Deb Valder, and I always love having you stop by for some craftiness. And today I wanted to show you how to do this beautiful little card right here. I did it with distressed Oxide inks, but before I do that, I wanted to show you this card right here. The other day I debuted it on our blog, Teaspoon of Fun, and I said that we have a kit, and we have a couple left, but in the kit you get this stamp set, and you also get this stamp set, and then you get the makings for 4 of these cards. So make sure you get yours before they're sold out. We have, like I said, just a couple left, and they're just so pretty. What I wanted to tell you also is that these stamp sets, really, you don't need these just for 4th of July. If you look at some of the sayings that are in here, thank you for your service. Right now, how much more appropriate could that be? You could send thank you cards to nurses that you know, doctors that you know, people that are really putting their lives on the line for what's going on in the world right now. And today is the first day of the second half of this year, and what a year it's been so far. So I just thought this was a really cool little card to make, a twist on this one right here. So let's get started. This one's made with distressed Oxide inks, and make sure you hop on over to Teaspoon of Fun to shop online for all of our products that we have in there. So today what we're going to do is start off with just a piece of our white cardstock, and I'm going to take and put that into onto my little make art station right here, because I want to be able to use my distressed Oxide and clean up afterwards. So I'm going to take my magnetic piece right here and just lay it on the board right here. And what I'm going to do is grab some of our repositionable tape. And I always save all the little pieces because I use them and reuse them and reuse them. Now I won't save this because it's going to have a lot of ink on it. So I'm just going to cut off a piece of this and lay it on the top part right up here, because I am going to do the bottom part. And the reason I like this little thing, number one, it's easy to clean up. Number two, it actually helps me line up my paper. Now, normally I would use my grid paper, but because this is so much easier to clean up, I'm really falling in love with this. So we're going to start with our browns. You know, when I do my distressed Oxide inks, I always have these little brushes found in the shop, but I use all of the browns. I use this brush for all of my browns. I use this one for all of my oranges, all of my yellows, and so on and so on and so on. So just make sure you check those out. These are the best brushes I've ever used. I love them. So let me just grab the distressed Oxide inks, and these are found in the shop also. I'm going to use some ground espresso. And all I'm going to do is just, let's see if I can get that in the picture also. All I'm going to do is just pick up the ink right here. Make sure you get the re-inkers too, because if you've got the ink, why not get the re-inker to go along with it? And I'm just going to scrub this on here just like this. All right. And what I love about the distressed Oxide inks is their blendability. It just blends so pretty. All right. So we've got the brown on here right now. And I just can't say enough about those. You can actually use regular inks for these, but like I said, I like the blendability on the distressed Oxides, but we have to do a few extra things to help us along with the distressed Oxides. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little wipe here and just clean up my board. All right. And that's why I like using this instead of my paper, even though I love my paper. I just like using that. Just wipe it up with so we can get on to the next one. All right, so now we have this piece right here. I don't want to use the same piece of tape because I don't want to pick up the brown, but I can save that one if I want to. I don't usually save it when there's ink on there, only because I don't want the ink to come off on anything else. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the opposite. Where's my little holder here? I like to have my holder right up here. This comes with this Make It Art Station, and it's magnetic, so it holds everything. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put my tape down here. All right, and that's going to hold my paper, but it's also going to mask this part right here. I'm going to start with my lemon, squeezed lemon, and let me just push this over here. Here we go. That's better. So now what I'm going to do is just start with my squeezed lemon, and I'm going to make the little sun set. All right, so I start in the middle where I want my darkest color to be, and then I just kind of feather it out. And I'm doing this off to the side just to give it a little bit of a different visual. All right, now that I've got my tape down there, I can move that up. All right, so that's good for right now. Put the top on this little guy right here and go into our carved pumpkin. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on the outside and work my way in, because I want the darker to be on the outside and the lighter to blend in with the yellow. This is why I wanted to do a video on this. I could have just put it onto my blog, but I just wanted to show you, if you're using distressed oxide inks, they're the best. I love them. Thank you, Tim Holtz. But also just to show you some little tidbits that I found when I was doing this card. Now I'm going to go back to my squeezed lemon. I was going to say easy peasy lemon squeezy, but that's what this card is. And I'm just going to blend in the orange and the yellow together, and it softens it up. Isn't that pretty? Alrighty. So now I have my background, and I have, isn't that gorgeous? Absolutely gorgeous. Let's just take and throw these two away because I don't want them getting all over. I'm going to grab my Misty, add my paper to it. All right, and just add my little magnet. Now, if you're new to Misty, these magnets are so very hard to get up and down. So what I did was I put 2 layers of electrical tape, and it makes it so much easier. All right. So there we go. There's that. Now we've got to ink up our stamp. So let's just place the stamp where we want it to be. I want their little feet to be just below this line right here. So I'm going to just place it there, close my pad, just make sure it's straight. It is perfect. And then I'm going to ink. Now with this ink, this is just regular black ink. All right. When I use this on my distressed oxide ink, or onto my distressed oxide paper here, it does have a reaction, because remember, distressed oxide inks do react to water. I don't think there's any water in that, but it doesn't cover as well. So what I do is I just ink it up a couple of times. Now you could do the reverse on this. You could stamp this first and then do the distressed oxide over by putting a mask on this. But the hard part with that is the little holes right in here. You'd have to cut out every single hole. So or you could take and you could emboss it. There's so many different things that you can do. I love solid stamps like this. All right, so what I've done is I've done it a couple of times to get it very covered. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it one step farther. Now this is a little distressed look right here, which is what distressed oxide inks are. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ink pad, and I'm going to pick up some of the ink with just a regular paintbrush and just color in the rest of it. And it depends, like I said, the look that you want, but I just love the way this looks. There we go. So pretty. Okay, now what we're going to do is to put the top on the ink so I don't put my arm in it. And to clean off my brush, all I do is just use some of my regular cleaner, and it cleans off my brush perfect. All right, so now let's clean off this little guy right here. And bring this out. Now I'm going to do one other step. Again, if you're using regular inks on the back of this, you don't have to do all of these things. Not that you have to do them anyway, but I'm going to bring in my paper, because there's one other thing I want to do before I add it to my card base. I'm going to take I just grab some inexpensive hairspray and just spray it. Just like that. and then let it dry. And while it's drying, I'm going to take and, oh, it smells so pretty. I'm going to take and grab the base and the layer. So I used, you know me, I don't like to waste anything. So what I did was I took my back layer, and you would never know it on this, but I took my back layer and I cut out just whatever you want. So I just took one of my Matinee rectangle layers and I cut it out and I saved it for another card. So remember, working smarter, not harder. And then on this one right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this to my base, and just like that. Let's get this side up just a little bit higher. There we go. Perfect. Making sure that all the edges caught. I like to do it that way because this is wider than that is, so I just wanted to make sure that I got it on there. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and add some of this because we need to add the piece now. Okay, it's still a little bit wet. It curls just a tad bit, but do you see how it's just so pretty? And what I'm going to do is just add this to the background. It's really a fast card. Like I said, you just saw me do it from beginning to end. And here we go. It's still a little tacky. If you're doing this at home, I would just wait a little bit. There we go. Okay, there we go. So beautiful. All right, now what I need to do is add the sentiments. So in this set, remember I told you all of these sentiments come with it. So I just do a bunch of them. Of course I do. And then I add them to my little packet. So I can take any one of these sentiments that I already have cut out, and I can add this. So remember I was telling you earlier that you could use this to give to nurses or doctors or, you know, post office people, anybody that you feel is like going above and beyond their duty during this pandemic. So I'm just going to take my foam tape here, add it to the back of it. Like I said, such a fast card. This would be one of those 10-minute or less cards because it's that fast. All right, grab this off here like this. I have a couple birthdays in July, and I use this for birthdays also. My brother, there's just a bunch of birthdays in July. All right, thank you for your service. I know exactly who this is going to. I have a friend who is a nurse, and her husband is, he is a state trooper. So I think I'll send this to them. They have been going through a lot right now. If you have any questions, you take care. Have a great day. And remember to hop on over to the shop. Click on the subscribe button and the little bell next to it so that you get our videos instantly. Hit the thumbs up button, and please share this with your friends. Thank you. Have a great day. Happy July 1st.